And welcome everyone. Welcome to another webinar here at CARB HR Forum. Tonight we have 3 steps to take charge of your life and career with Charlene Pedro. My name is Francis Wade, in case we haven't met, and I'm the founder of CARB HR Forum. So as you can see, if you're new to Remo, I've just put the agenda in the chat. If you click on the graphic, Lygia is from Trinidad. We're in Trinidad, Lygia. If you click on the graphic I just put in with tonight's logistics, it should expand to fill your screen and you can read it more readily. So whenever there's a graphic in the chat, just click on it and then you'll be able to see it. So here's what we're about tonight. So tonight is about self-leadership. And as you know, we're heading into the holidays. And here in 2020, election fever, COVID fever, all kind of fever happening. The whole world is in an uproar, in turmoil, and right now the whole world is on pause waiting to see what happens as a result of the elections that are going on in the US. So this Christmas season is going to be pretty different from every other one that you or I probably remember or probably have ever been through. And it's going to be, I just saw a notice saying here in Jamaica, we're going to be having lockdowns on New Year's, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And that means everything is going to close at 3 p.m. on those days. So add that to the social distancing and the fact that you aren't supposed to be congregated in large groups. And it's not going to be a Christmas like any other, as you can imagine. So having emotional strength and being able to lead yourself to take control of your life and your career is a good topic for the season that we're about to head into, because there will be some disappointment in some quarters with respect to what Christmas is supposed to be like as opposed to what it's like. I lived in Trinidad for a couple of years and never quite got into the whole parang thing. Because why? Parang for me as a Jamaican, Spanish music at Christmas is like, that's not Christmas music. But Trinidad would come alive as soon as they start thinking, hey, Sereno, Serrad, start playing the Trinidad would come alive, and as a Jamaican, I'm like, what is Mexican music that? Because we have no history and no tradition of that. So this is a tough time of year that we're possibly going into. So please jump into this with full gusto. I think it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to end my introduction in just a minute, and we're going to bring Charlene up, and she'll be taking you through a couple of interactive exercises. Well, she'll be doing an icebreaker as well. And then somewhere at the top of the hour, somewhere near or just after, we'll take a technical break, which means I'll have to reset the room. So all you'll have to do is we'll all log out, just keep refreshing your screen, and we should be back at 1/4 the hour. That'll be 7:15 Jamaica time and 8:15 Trinidad time. And then we'll continue. Charlene will continue probably with a Q&A. And at the end of the evening, we're going to do a prize draw. And then we're going to finish off the evening after the draw, the prize, and it's a random prize tonight. We're going to go into networking mode for as long as we can, which is up until about 8:30 Jamaica time or 9:30 Trinidad time. Okay, so you're free to stay for as much of networking mode as you want. You don't have to stay. So let me introduce Charlene. Charlene Pedro is a corporate trainer, human resource consultant, personal development strategist, speaker, and mentor. She offers over 25 years experience in human resource management and is the founder and chief engagement officer of Conventus Consulting. She helps CEOs and managers solve their people and performance problems by improving their leadership skills, their employee engagement, and performance management systems. She is founder of Conversations Over Coffee with Charlene, another one coming up in December. A successful breakfast training program with a difference that brings fresh ideas to inform, engage, and inspire CEOs, managers, and professionals to make a positive impact in their workplace. And you probably know Charlene from the conference. And Charlene, I'm going to hand over to you at this point. And you just tell me when you want to go back into networking mode, and I'll flip us back over. So you have to unmute yourself because you're currently muted. Yeah, you're currently muted. Oh, there we go. Okay. Over.
I'm getting excited myself. Hi guys, hi dolls. Glad that you all joined us this evening. So who's excited? Let me see it in the chat. Who's excited? Say yes. Say me. Come on, who's excited? Me? Who's with me this evening? Any familiar faces? Yes, Dawn, I see you. Mr. Grayson, I see you. How are you going? Lydia, nice. Trevor. Hi, Miss Girl. I'm so glad to see. Hey, Ariane, nice to see. So when you registered, great, nice. So nice familiar faces and names. I am so glad you're here. And Francis and I actually, with all the planning, really excited to have this evening to get it going. So are we ready for an interesting evening? Are we ready to learn? Yes. Hey, hey, yes. Are we ready? So we're going to start off the evening, of course, with getting to know each other. So I know those who came in early, that you all were around the table. Hi, Monel from Dominica. Okay, I have Dominican roots. My grandmother is from Dominica, so I do have family in Dominica. So Dominica is in the house. Fantastic. So start the formal part of this evening with a little bit of networking and with a little question for you all to answer. Good. All right, so let's get going. So this is me. Of course, Francis introduced me, so you don't need me anymore. So the main thing is for you to stick around until the end of the session. It's going to be like a lottery, a lotto for people from Trinidad. So we have a fantastic gift for you. No, it's not the brand new car you wanted. It's not that kind of gift, okay? But we have a nice prize for you that we think you would like. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? It's going to help you grow a network. So I'm just going to leave it as that. So tell me, my dear people, and I'm going to try to also see you a bit. So, so tell me, why are you here? Anything here applies to you. Go on this ride again. I feel you and I hear you, Natasha. Adimi, I hear you. Lydia, I hear you. I feel you. Excellent. All right, so I'm seeing part of the, let me see if I can move this around a bit. I guess I cannot. Let me just go back here. All right, I'm seeing part of the chat, probably, I don't know, I missed a few words in the chat, a few letters. So let's get rolling here. So, I mean, the reason I had to put this slide in is because I know how we are all feeling at this time. If not all of us, there must be a time that we went through with what's happening around us, where we're wondering, you know, what's the next step? How do we move forward? I mean, sometimes we are like on a hamster on a wheel, just going through the motions, and actually have a slide with a hamster on the wheel, because sometimes that's what we feel like. So like I say, I feel you. And you know, what I've realized over the years is that because of that hamster on the wheel syndrome, we don't press pause enough. And let me ask you, do you feel that you press that pause button enough? Oh gosh, I hope I see the answers. I'm seeing part of the answers. Do you feel, so I need you to talk to me in the chat. There's no fun for me just staring at a screen and not communicating. I'm hoping to see your answers. I'm seeing part, something with transition to the next level. Let's see if I can pull this down a bit. All right, yeah, okay, so now we're working. Need to transition to the next level of my career. Got you, got you, got you. So many times we have plans, we have visions, but we don't know how to get there. And sometimes so much of what is happening around us, sometimes we get distracted, what I call distracted. I always tell people, keep focused, keep focused. I mean, even myself, sometimes I get in a slump and I realize the day has passed and I have not really accomplished anything. And I say, okay, the good thing is that every time the sun rises is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. We get an opportunity every day to do better and to be better. So let's take some time. I'm glad you're here. So that means that we have taken some time for ourselves. Many times we want to sign up for something. I mean, I am part of the congregation when I preach here tonight. Okay, when you hear me say something, I'm talking to myself too. So many times, you know, I've heard a priest said that. Many times we go through life and we are very busy, whether with life itself or whether with our career, and we don't find time even to come on at 7 o'clock in the evening for ourselves because we're either tired from work or we have other things to do at home, or sometimes we're working late and we're really, really tired. And what we don't realize is that we spend the time, our energy, our effort, you know, the time building somebody else's goals and somebody else's dreams and putting ourselves on the back burner. Are you tired putting yourself on the back burner? Let me hear you. Are you tired of putting yourself on the back burner, particularly in this climate? It's 2020. Are you tired putting yourself on the back burner? Are you giving work priority all the time over yourself? The time you could, you know, spend doing some reading, doing some exercising, starting to plan, starting to do some research. Are you tired? And sometimes I am tired too. But as I said, every day is an opportunity to go again, to do better. All right, so Francis did this for me, so we keep it rolling. So I want you to make a commitment here. And Francis spoke about closing your browsers. I want you to make sure you have pen and paper because you're going to write. We're back in school. You're going to write. Okay? So make sure you have pen and paper. It could just be a page. It doesn't matter. Your notebook, whatever. Make sure you have pen and paper. Everybody's ready? Do you have pen and paper? Yes? Let me hear it from you. Do you have pen and paper? If not, take some time, run and come back. Run and come back. Pen and paper is a must. I see my dear friend Dawn is here, starring this evening. Right, Diana and Michelle, you got your pen and paper. Great. So our mission this evening, should you choose to accept it, at the end of today, this evening, you should have taken one action step towards your goal. And I'll tell you what I mean by action step. We have action kind of in a box in our heads, but one action step towards your goal. And please, the other part of this evening is for you to get to know somebody, to network, expand your network. As you learn to define and identify your skills, you will start to learn to identify opportunities to use your skills. And that's where your network comes in. So this is your mission today. Are you ready to accept your mission? Are you ready to accept your mission? This is your mission this evening, should you choose to accept it. If you are ready, let me know. Are you ready? Do you accept? Do you accept this mission? Ready, Kim, ready. Natasha, ready. Don't accept the mission. Diana, ready. Latoya, you are ready. We are ready. So let's go. So this is what we're going to do. Janelle is ready. Padmini is ready. Trisha, you are ready. And I am so ready for you guys. So this is what we're going to do this evening. We're going to look at self-leadership as the missing piece of the puzzle. That puzzle of life, that puzzle of achieving our goals, we're going to look at self-leadership in that context. We're going to look and see why we need to be self-aware and why self-awareness is critical for us to succeed, however success looks for you, however you define success. And then we're going to look at some secrets of goal achievements. And secrets, when placed together, are very powerful. So I want you to tell me, so this is the definition from Peter Drucker. But, if I was to ask you yourself, what do you think self-leadership is? This is, take charge of your life. What do you think if somebody was to ask you, so what is self-leadership? What would you say? Come on, speak to me, people. What would you say? Taking charge of your life. Yeah? All right, my screen kind of just being able to motivate oneself. Yes, yeah. Being responsible for yourself and your decision. Absolutely. 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 Yeah. Practicing control over my own thinking and actions. Powerful. Managing every area of your life. Owning all aspects of your life. Intrinsic motivation. I love that, Monel, because to me, that's the only motivation that exists. Intrinsic motivation, the motivation that comes within. We can try all the carrots and stick. At the end, we have to decide, anybody, even as a manager, and you try to motivate somebody else, we decide, we make the decision to do or not to do. We make the decision to lie on the couch for hours, binge watching at Netflix. Yeah. We make the decision not to do what we have on our plans to achieve our goals. We make that decision, and that's really taking responsibility for our decisions. So, I remember sharing about that binging. I can't remember the name of the series now. I mean, it's that irrelevant, but I do remember spending the whole night binging a series. And, after you tell yourself, oh my goodness, I waste so much time. You know what I have done with that time? I mean, one show is okay, two, but it happens to all of us. And as I said before, sometimes we follow the bandwagon. But the good thing about life, the good thing about the earth rotating is that every day, every single day, as the sun rises, we get an opportunity to do better and be better than yesterday. So, I want you to think about, so there are 4 pillars of self-leadership. What do you think? Give me one pillar that you think may come under self-leadership. 4 topics, 4 headings. Make a guess. I know we have some self-leadership discipline. We have some self-leadership, what should I say? Probably experts. But we have some people who are in my self-leadership mastermind here, and I welcome you so much. Yeah. I like the vision, the discipline, yeah? So all that falls under some of our pillars. And you may be quite surprised here. So here are our 4 pillars of self-leadership. Mission Legio. So in the self-leadership pillars, first you have self-discovery. Because with self-discovery, we are looking at our values, we are looking at our big why, what we call the 5th why. Those are my mastermind. We went through a session called the 5th why, the why that makes you cry. I mean, people actually have been in a session when people actually came to tears. It's going through this process and you're able to find your deeper why, not the frivolous why we usually tell ourselves. We want to do our degree because we want to get promoted. That's the frivolous why. We need to dig deeper on the 5th why. By the time we reach the 5th why, we should get our true why. So all that is part of self-discovery. What are our skills, our strengths, our areas that we have to develop? All that is part of self-discovery. Then when we look at self-acceptance, now that we see who we are, when we accept our strengths, the HR speak is areas to develop, our strengths, our areas to develop, and, look ourselves in the mirror and see who we are. And it's only through that, doing our SWOT analysis on ourselves, that we can really come to a place of self-acceptance and then focusing on our goals, because by then we would have defined our goals. We would have drilled down those goals into bite-sized pieces. I asked my tribe and my mastermind, How do you eat a big elephant? And anybody, I'm asking, hit me up in the chat. How do you eat a big elephant? How do you eat a big elephant? Gotcha. One bite at a time. So sometimes we have these big, massive goals, and it can be overwhelming. But if we break it down into manageable goals, and then we take those compartments down and work on them, they can add together to achieve that big goals. So that's what the goal setting in this context is like. And then the self-management is really developing habits to help you achieve those goals and keeping yourself accountable, as somebody said before. The self-growth is now taking opportunities to grow, like you're doing right now on this webinar. Tell people everything doesn't cost money. Sometimes we look at things and we say, oh, I don't have the money. But you and I know everything does not cost money. So sometimes, not all the time. I mean, if you want to buy a car, that's your goal. We know that it's going to cost money, but there are some things that we want to achieve, and we can make baby steps, one step at a time to get where we want to go. If we don't have the money, we can do something else, which may be developing our skills. But, to sit back and do nothing, we don't want to go there. So one of the key things about self-leadership is that we have to define our purpose, our path, and our pace. And I'll get into that a little bit. So tell me, why would we consider, now that we know what it's like, and this slide is really just for you to go wild, because by now, why would we consider self-leadership the missing puzzle in our lives to achieve our goals, to live a more fulfilling life? What I call finding that thing that sets your soul on fire. Why would we call it the missing part of the puzzle? Because this is one of the things we say we're going to do this evening. We're going to find out why self-leadership is the missing part of the puzzle. Now hit me up in the chat, because that's how we're communicating. Why is it the missing link? Why is it the missing puzzle? Yeah? Why do you think it's the missing puzzle? I'm not sure if you all are typing and that I'm not seeing. Let's go here. We do so much for ourselves, for others, and not ourselves. We allow others to influence us. So true. And sometimes, especially the negative influence and the negative, conversations we hear from people, sometimes we take it in and we begin to have that negative conversations in our heads. So when we think about the puzzle, it's because, and the missing piece, so self-leadership is really the missing piece, because no matter what we plan, no matter what our goal is, no matter what our big dream is, unless we provide some sort of structure and framework for ourselves, it's so easy to fall off the bandwagon. And sometimes we fall off and we feel that we are so far away from the wagon that we don't worry to jump back on, But if we take some time to develop ourselves, and that's why, setting the goal first without developing yourself is really like putting the cart before the horse, because we set these big goals, even if you write it down, but we don't work on ourselves and we don't provide ourselves a framework to get back on if we drop off. And as Diana said, Diana's saying we first need to know what we want, why we want it, and what would be the benefit of doing what we want, and that's it. And the process of self-leadership allows you to identify, know what you want and why you want it. It's not just you want a promotion, and it's really why you want to open your business at the side, you want to volunteer. There's a deeper why we must get to, and and I also like to talk about living that life that is connected to who you are, and not really a life that somebody thinks that you should live. So self-leadership it's really the missing puzzle, because we need to work on ourselves first, and we can stick the goal achievement in there, but we need to work on ourselves first to get where we want to go. As Diana said, we need to know ourselves, why we want what we want, and what would be benefit when we get it. So I had mentioned the purpose, the path, and the pace, because it's about setting, creating what you want. And so many times we are not sure of the purpose, why we're doing what we're doing. We in a cycle, and we're really not sure what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. And that's where the self-awareness comes along. So you define your purpose. It's not that somebody's going to give you your purpose, or that you believe what is being said to you. And it's you deciding and defining and carving out your path, because your path is yours. It's for nobody else to walk. It's definitely just your path. And then the pace. How many times we compare where we are with where somebody else is? And let me hear you. Have you ever compared where you are in your career, where you are in your life, with either, a colleague, something you see on TV, something you read every day, many times, unfortunately? How many of us compare where we are, who we are, with somebody else, whether TV friend, old friend from school? How many of us? Let me hear you. If it's no, you could say no, but I want to hear more people. Let me hear you. Come on. Yeah, Lygia. I mean, we all do. Yeah, sometimes. Yep. The past self, yeah. So sometimes we go through that journey, and we can reach a stage where we say that we are creating our path. We define our purpose. Nice to hear you, Diana. But at some point in time, we compare even as a child, and then we learn to, as I say, be our own self. And particularly as professionals, sometimes we feel we should be further. For many professionals, sometimes we feel we should be further than where we are. And it's really about being focused about where you want to go. I mean, I remember, I went back to university as an adult. And I went back and did my first degree when I just had, I remember my first daughter was 3 months old when I went to UE and, to the admin office, and I said, but I didn't get anything in the mail, anything that you're starting, I'm not sure if I'm accepted. So I was accepted. That was the good news. And the following week. And I remember too that when people started, they would start, now you had to go part-time, and people started doing 3 courses instead of 2, because they said they will do 3 in case they fail one, that they can catch up the following semester. Yeah. But I did 2. And the thing is that many times we fall into what we see other people doing, or fall into what we see happening around us. So sometimes it's advice, well-intended, and we don't define our pace, our path. And it's really knowing, as Anna had said before, it's really knowing what you want and why you're doing what you're doing. I mean, heavens, I had a 3-month-old home. Although I had, fantastic support system in my family and my husband, but if I knew I have a 3-month home, why would I take on 3 courses instead of 2? So obviously I took the minimum. And again, it's just knowing your context, your situation, and defining your path and your pace. Now, as we move on to self-awareness, again, defining your purpose, your path, and your pace is really about knowing yourself and knowing your context. And again, it's critical to your success. And that's where the self-leadership comes in. And it's about knowing your values. It's about knowing your why, your fifth why, your deep why. It's about knowing your strengths. It's about knowing the areas of development. It's about knowing your tribe that you can tap into to support. It's about knowing your network that you can use to practice your areas to develop and utilize your strengths. So when we talk about self-awareness, it's really about some introspection. And many, many times we go through life and we really don't think about our strengths. So ladies, let me hear you. Do you like that picture, ladies? This is not for the guys. Ladies, this is put in just for you. Do you like this picture? Are there any women in the house who doesn't like muscles? Yes, Dawn, eye candy. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Eye candy. I put in a little eye candy for you all this evening. Yeah. We all try to keep healthy. I mean, I too try to do my cycling. So when I talk about strengths, I thought about muscles here in the picture. But when we're speaking about strengths, we're really speaking about your internal strengths, what you bring to the table. And let me ask you, do you know what your strengths are? Do you know what your strengths are? I'm not hearing you. Sort of. Anybody knows what your strengths are? Some of them. Good, Latoya. Jade says somewhat. Do you know what your strengths are? All right, Kim, legit said, I'm seeing some, no, yes. I'm learning. Michelle, some, somewhat, some. All right, some. So it's important for us to know our key strengths. You know, you got to know your key strengths if you want to, what I call, taking advantage of your strengths and using it in your journey to success, to achieve your goals, whatever that may look like, or however you define that. Because remember, you're defining your purpose, your path, and your pace. So when we define our strengths, when we identify our strengths, and then we can know, okay, so what could I do? What can I do that matches that strength? Yeah. So a simple thing for me, I remember I was with a meeting with a client earlier this year, and there was a little tug of war between the manager and the employee. And it was a roundtable discussion, and I allowed the employee to share their views and how they felt, and I made sure that I received and let the employee know that I received their opinion and their thoughts. And after we had finished that meeting, the CEO said to me, what you have, Charlene, is a gift because you're able to diffuse that situation. So I know for me, that is a strength. I know that when I speak to people, I try to make them feel that their opinion, that their thoughts that they're sharing, that it's valid and it's valued. So I say it's V squared, valid and valued. So valued. So we must know our strengths so that we can use our strengths and pull it out of our back pockets. The other thing when we talk about self-leadership and when we talk about taking charge, is about our mindset. So tell me, people, in this situation, when we look like this, I hear you, Diana. Yeah, I know where my source come from too. Only one place, so let's not forget it. You're a good listener, Diana, the other Diana. So let's talk about mindset. So we all are really, when I saw this photograph, I said, bingo, 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 kind of jackpot. Because this is how we are now. This is how we are in our homes. I mean, we're back to work for some of us. But generally, there's nowhere to go, as I told somebody, at least in Trinidad, there's really nowhere to go. You can't even go out and eat, you just go buy and come home because the restaurants are closed, you just have curbside. So we have opened up a bit, but there's still this feeling of being locked away and masked up. And that can do so much for our mindset. So if I have to ask you, how do you feel when you look at this photograph? The photograph with the mask on, behind the bars, how do you feel?
We're going to take our intermission at this point.
All right. So we're ready to go again. And let's go. So we're talking about mindset. And yes, I heard how people feel, because this really makes us feel trapped. And, this is a time, this is the season. I always tell people, this is the season that we have to protect our mindset. Do not be distracted. Do not be drawn into the doom and gloom. And I am not discounting what is happening around us. I'm definitely not discounting that. We all know somebody who have, had COVID. I've had a old classmate succumb to COVID. So I've had family who have had COVID. I'm definitely not dismissing that it's a deadly virus. What I'm doing is taking control of the situation inside of here, because if we don't, it can become only a dark place, and we have to rise from the ashes. If we have people depending on us, we can't just be in a dark place, whether at work or depending on us at home. So we definitely have to mind our mindset. Watch what we listen to, watch what we read. Very, very early o'clock in the game of COVID, I would limit my TV news intake, because hey, those stats and early and even now, it could really get to you. So having that on your screen every single day, whole day, it could really get to you. So it's really about minding your mindset. It's about nurturing. Yes, Dale, and you stay away from the negative talk, not just about COVID, but generally. You share with somebody that you want to achieve X, Y, and Z, and probably that was the wrong person to share it with, because they tell you, nah, forget that. That's not for you, that's for them. You sure you have the money for that? So how are you going to do that? Why at this age you're going back to study, you're going back to school? Yeah. Why at this age you're going to do X, you're going to change careers, change the field you're in? Why at this age? I've heard people tell others that, and my thing is that life is too short. Somebody WhatsApped me a while back, probably about a month back, just to let me know that they were separating from their wife after many years, whatever, 20 years. And, the strange thing, when I looked at it, I said, my goodness, after so many years. But then I said, if you're unhappy and it's not filling your soul, because for me, marriage is sacred. But who am I to stay from a distance and judge? Life is too short to be unhappy. That's the bottom line. So if you need to go after your goals, if you need to do something, as I tell people, that sets your soul on fire, life is too short not to try. If it's one thing COVID has taught us, is life is short, because you may be here today, get COVID tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, last week. You only find out tomorrow, and then within a week, you could be gone. So, if wanting this COVID, what I call the COVID series, because it's like a Netflix series, this Netflix, we just don't know when it's going to end and how it's going to end. And if it's one story, one lesson that we learned from COVID, is truly life is short. So the putting off and the negative self-talk and the negative talk from other people, we got to control that where we can. And like Janelle said, life is meant to be lived and to be made the best of. Janelle, go to the head of the class. Really, really too short. So what are the two things we looked at? We looked at self-leadership. Why is the missing piece of the puzzle? What was the second thing we looked at? Anybody remembered? What was the second thing we looked at? Manel, yeah? Thanks, Manel. So we looked at why self-leadership is a missing piece of the puzzle. What was the second thing we looked at? What was it about? Let me see if anybody was up or if you're like me, need a little ginkgo for the brains. Right, we looked at self-awareness, why it is critical for success, and we need to press the pause. We're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't press that pause button to find out, our strengths and how we can utilize our strengths. So let's talk about these three secrets. The three ways that we said, the three steps we can do to take action. Now, I'm sure when I said 3 steps that, let me ask, I want to say put hands up, but who thought that you were coming here to, let's say, define your goal, a SMART goal? So did you think that you're going to define a SMART goal this evening? We want our mindset, yeah. Thanks, Manel. So after self-awareness, we looked at strengths and our mindset. So we move from our mindset and we're going at the 3 secrets. So did you think you were coming to define our goals? This is how, give me tips of how to define your goals, how to do SMART goals. Let me hear you. I think I need a sip here. Okay, look, okay. One say no, one say yes. Yeah, nope. Okay, so I'm getting some no, some nope, some yes. And, when we think about taking action, we think, I'm glad to hear some no's. Sometimes we think about that part of defining your SMART goals, but like I said, that comes after we have to do the foundational work first. So I'm so glad that many people didn't think so. That makes me really glad this evening, because we really have to do the groundwork. We got to do the groundwork, because if we don't do the groundwork, that means when we define our goals, when we have this goal, there's sometimes, as I said, we're going to fall off the bandwagon. So I'm going to give you 3 foundational steps, 3 secrets. And I'm saying secrets because when I put this framework together, as I said, I have a mastermind. It's the tying, the knitting and the connecting of the different elements that makes it a powerful framework. By itself, it's typical. Read about it, do your research. But together, it's powerful. It's powerful in terms of self-awareness that you'll see. I have some words shared with one of my mastermind tribe. But together, it is so powerful. So let me share with you 3 secrets. Secret number 1, make your goal based on your values. When we talk about values, what do we mean? Let me hear you. Hit me up in the chat. What are we talking about when we say values? What do we mean? And I hope you have your pen and paper with you. We came back with it. When we say values, what do we mean? What is important to you? Yeah? What is important to you? Anybody else? Hit me up in the chat. What is important to you? When we say values, what do we mean? So values is whether we recognize it or what, values or not, the things that are aligned in what you believe. I just love it. Guiding principles. You all got it. You all got it. You got it. Giving you a high five there. You got it. Things you believe in, things that align with your soul, your heart, your guiding principles. You know, when we're in a situation that is not aligned, I'm glad somebody said things align in what you believe. Have you ever been in a situation where it just doesn't feel good, or your gut doesn't take somebody, my gut takes you. Have you ever been in a situation where it just didn't feel right? It was not aligned with your values and your beliefs. Have you ever been in such a situation? I have. Have you ever been in a situation at work where something is happening and it just doesn't, that is it, it just does not sit right with you? It doesn't sit right. You don't know what it is, you can't put your finger on it, but it just not sitting right. That's your values tapping you on the shoulder. As a matter of fact, that's your values slapping you left, right, cheek to cheek. That's your values speaking and shouting. I remember being in a situation in an organization and things were happening contrary to my values. Contrary to my values. And it no longer felt right and felt good. I knew it in my gut and in my core. It no longer felt good and felt right. And that's why it's not aligned with your soul. To your core, you feel it. So when I gave advice and said this is not right, what is happening, and then I started to call myself the obstructionist, because I'm obstructing everyone how they want to move. I was really in people's way. And I no longer an organization and I felt fully aligned with and that I loved, still love the people. But the organization started to take a different turn. And when I became that obstructionist, when your head, when you're senior, I was head of HR in the organization, and when your senior calls you and asks you to advertise internally a position, that seems okay. It's typical, head of HR, we do internal ads. But when the position that you're called, you are requested, you're directed, you're instructed to advertise is your position, and you're still sitting in the seats, something is up. I was asked, directed, instructed to advertise my position as a vacancy within the organization. And that's when I definitely knew, it's time, as somebody said, time to roll. And I always tell people that was the most dramatic, difficult time of my career, but it reveals so much about myself. And that's why I'm here tonight talking to you, because this is where that path directed me. And, at one point in time, I was like hanging on a string, and I really got frustrated because I was ready to go. And I said, it's time to release me. It's time to release me. I gotta go. It's time to release me. I gotta go. And I said, if you don't wrap this up before Friday, I distinctly remember it was a Tuesday. I said, if you don't wrap this up by Friday, in staff meeting before Friday, in staff meeting on Friday, I'm going to have to ask a question in that forum. But needless to say, it was wrapped up before Friday. So ensuring that we live a life based on our values is so important. We never think about it because we never even stop to identify our values. When we think about our goals, we may want to get something, we may want to achieve something, but we never double check to see if it is aligned with our values. And if it is not totally aligned, by the time we're trying to achieve that goal, we may fall off quite easily from the bandwagon, because it is not something that sits with our soul. So the first thing is ensuring that your goals are aligned with your values, and why you want it is aligned with your values. And that's why we must always do that 5 why exercise. So what are your values? And this is where your pen and paper comes in. What are your values? And I want you now to take your paper and write your top, what you consider your top 3 values. I'm going to let you write that in your paper. No need to put it in the chat if you don't want to. On your sheet of paper, you have your paper, right? So write in it your top 3, what you consider to be your top 3 values. Right? Giving you 2 minutes, shouldn't take long. Just write whatever comes to mind. Your top 3 values. Yeah? Right, so are we good? Let me hear you. Were you able to write down your top 3 values? Give me some response in the chat, so let me know what's happening. Give me a yes or not yet. Come on, give me some feedback. This is how we can. All right, Jane. Excellent. Ariane, fantastic. So let's see some more. Are we there yet? Are we finished with our top 3 values? Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Fantastic. As a class, we're getting on, man. Yes. Fantastic, Legia. Awesome. So when, I should say before I move on, that I've asked you to write down your top 3 values. And, you know, we're going to send you an ebook with some exercises, because there are 3 secrets here, 3 steps, foundation steps. So you're going to get an ebook to do a further verification of your values. I think you get to do your top 5, but you'll go through a process to identify your values. And what I want you to do when you do that process, check with the values that you wrote tonight and see if it's the same. Yeah, so that's your homework when you get your ebook. Your ebook going to give you a more in-depth exercise. So let's mosey on down the road with our 3 secrets. So tell me, what is secret number 2? I gave you secret number 1. You can't get everything just so. What's secret number 2? Let me hear you. What's secret number 2? What do you think is secret number 2? What do you think is secret number 2? So the first thing we said, you know, identify your values. So make sure that your goals are value-based. What's secret number 2? Come, I'm giving you a drum roll here. What's secret number 2? I'm hoping that you're typing and I'm not seeing. All right, so secret number 2. Here we go. Yes, Anthony, act on your values for your value-based goal. Secret number 2 is, where are you now? Do a life audit. Sometimes we audit a department. You do an HR audit to find out, you know, if you capture everything in the HR function and how it is performing. So do a life audit and see where you are. So that's the first thing you want to do. And you do have a tool. Again, in your ebook, you have a few juicy things in the ebook. You do have a tool to help you do that. And this was my hamster. So sometimes in our life, when we do our life audit, we may realize and we may feel now so that we are on that wheel, like the hamster. We may feel we're on the wheel because our life is almost on automatic. Let me hear you. Do you feel you're on automatic? That you get up a certain time, if you have to head to work, you go to work, you work, and there's nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, you should work. I mean, people pay you, but you work, and then you come home and you take care of the household or whatever you have to do, whether it's you're studying, whether you're taking care of your family, whether you're taking care of your pets, whatever your folks, your mom, your dad. So you have a routine. So let me hear you. Do you have a daily routine? Do you have a daily routine? Yes or no? Do you have a daily routine? Yes, we all have a daily routine. And some of us flex, yeah? So most of us have a daily routine, things that we do every day. But besides showering and brush our teeth, I would hope. you know. So some of us have a daily routine. Some of us are flexible. I'm very flexible now. You know, sometimes yes, cooking is in the agenda for the day. Sometimes it's not, depending on what I have to do. But we all have a daily routine, and after a while, years pass, and we're doing the same thing. That's why I say sometimes we're like the hand on the wheel. Every day we're hustling. I think I remember a song like that. Every day we're hustling. I must find that for this time. So every day we're hustling. And that's why we press pause. And that's why we do a life audit. And a good tool to do your life audit is using that wheel. And it's also in your ebook. So there are a lot of exercises, well, not a lot, but you have the exercises for the 3 secrets in your ebook, and it would allow you to do your life wheel. Some of you all may have heard of the life wheel already, but we're using it as a tool to identify where we are and where we want to go in terms of, it has instructions, and it will allow you to identify your satisfaction with the different areas in your life and where you want to move to in those areas. So that is your homework in your ebook. So moving right along, our 3 secrets. Secret number 3. What's secret number 3? Secret number 3. Anybody can tell me secret 1 and 3. So secret number 1 was, know your values. Secret number 2 was, anybody can tell me what we just did? Do a life audit. Yeah, we're going to use our life wheel of life, saying life wheel, heaven help. We're going to use our wheel of life, thanks to Teresa. Teresa is up with us. So our last thing was do a life audit, and we're going to use the wheel of life tool to do that audit. Our 3rd secret now, shucks, as though I can't even remember it. Secret number 3, time for change. Like that, Kim. We are on the wagon for change, the chain for change. Awesome. Secret number 3, craft your vision. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? There's a visualization exercise. I think you've got some good exercises in that ebook. There's a visualization exercise in that ebook that will allow you to craft your vision. You want to know, besides just, in your mind to see what it looks like, you want to close your eyes and see through your closed eyes, your mind eyes, and you want to also see what it smells like and what it feels like. Let all your senses come alive, because the more you can connect with your vision, the more you can make it real, that connection. And there are little things we can do. One is a vision board you can do on your own, or get a picture of where you want to go, what you want to be, what you want to get, put it on your wall. It doesn't have to be that you have a corkboard or a whiteboard. You can stick it on your wall with Scotch tape or masking tape. Trust me, I have a few things written on the wall, just stuck with Scotch tape, so it's in front of my eyes. And one of the things that I have to develop myself, my brand, I have there, Charlene Pedro, form a tribe around vision and value. I also have my watchwords, do better, be better. And why for me that is powerful is because many times we feel we have to be before we do. We feel we have to be confident before we do something. I want to tell you, my friends, that it's the opposite. It's in the doing that you build the confidence. The same way if you're riding a bicycle. You can't just sit and, vision alone, riding a bicycle. You have to do, you have to practice, and it's in riding the bicycle that you get confident to go back on. So if there are things that we're not confident about, I want to tell you, take that first step. Dip the small toe, the baby toe in the water. Dip the baby toe. At least you're taking a step. Take that first step. Do it afraid. Do it not feeling confident, because it's in the doing that you become confident. So crafting that vision, it's all about seeing where we want to go, but making it come alive so that we can see what it looks like. We can feel it. We can smell it. If you're in a place you want to smell, I don't know, if your vision is to travel somewhere, you should be able to smell the surroundings wherever it is, whether it's by a beach, whether it's flowers, whether it's a restaurant, whatever it is. You want to go France, you're smelling some nice bread baking. So we want to craft the vision in a way that our senses come alive, and we want to keep it to the forefront. So all this 1, 2, 3 foundational steps that you do before you start to actually move off and work. Well, all of this is working on your goals, but the actual activities and tasks, if you want to open your business, you have to go and register the name. Well, now you apply online to register the name. Those are actual tasks we do. But these are the 1, 2, 3 secrets are powerful when woven together as a foundation before you get the task going. Too many times when we do training, as a trainer, I always focus on connecting with people at the heart and not the head. Too many times we think that it could, because we are academic driven society, so everything is with the head. Everything starts with the head. But how could you even connect with yourself? How could you connect with people if we keep starting at the head? And this is a time, particularly in this COVID series, this Netflix COVID series, this is a time to refocus and to do things that connects with your soul, because that's what will keep you going. The head. I've quit training from the head. I train from the heart. So when I had some training a long time ago, and people had, they had some problems with management, they were holding grudges, and that session, it was a supervisory session. That session, people released, they shared, they cried. And at the end of the session, when we were over, my colleague and I, we were standing at the door, and there was a long line inside the room waiting to go out on. And do you know what people were waiting on? Let me see, do you know what people are waiting on? Tell me, do you know what people are waiting on? Just give me one answer. It was strange, but it was powerful. And I know it's difficult to even guess, because if I wasn't there, people were lining up to get hugs. Yes, Francis, you heard the story or what? People were actually lining up to get a hug before they left. And for me, that was mind-blowing. After, when I look back, it's important to look back at the different chapters and the stories in your life. And that's when I knew that training was what I was called to do, and that's where I could have an impact, because I connect with people. So part of my vision is to continue that connection. And that's why I say to you, do the foundation work to connect your goals with your soul and with your heart, and that will keep you going. There are going to be tough times, and the next thing you need is a tribe. So as you connect in your vision, I want you to ask yourself, what does success look like to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What kind of happy dance are you going to dance when you achieve it? All that is part of doing your vision. But as we do our vision and we get back to our daily routine, sometimes we don't follow up. And it's really puzzling. So tell me, why is it that, we know what to do, but sometimes we don't do it? Let me know in the chat. Come on, let me know in the chat. Why do we know what to do, but we don't do it? Fear. I see Dale say fear. Help me again. Fear of failure. Help me again. And that is so true, Dale. Sometimes we pause. because we're afraid. Simple things. Sometimes it could be a phone call and we procrastinate. Procrastination, you said it. Imposter syndrome coupled with, oh gosh, Roger, you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes we think we can't do it. Negative self-talk, others' opinions, lazy, confidence, lack of confidence. We allow ourselves to get distracted as we are now. We allow ourselves, all those reasons are valid and valuable reasons why we don't. We know what we have to do, but we procrastinate, we listen to negative self-talk, and we just put it off, because now, especially in COVID times, in this COVID series, now is not a good time. Now it's not a good time to say about your business, wanting to change. Yes, Anthony. Now it's not a good time to start that business at the side. I don't like to call it a side gig. We got to give it some respect, folks. So we have all these reasons why we don't do what we need to do. And there is an important fact. Just now we're singing Old Lang Syne. May all acquaintance be forgot. But listen, folks. The research will tell us that 88% of folks, 88% of folks who set their New Year's resolution fail. And in fact, some research tells you by February, they fall off the bandwagon. And why does that happen? Why is it we know what we have to do, but we don't do it? My dear friend Victor Hugo came up with this effect. And yes, there are too many big steps, so we got to break down what we have to do. Now, this Mr. Hugo, he had promised his publishers that he was going to write this book, and he was really procrastinating. So he decided to set up this thing for himself. He took all his clothes, gave it to his assistant, and tell his assistant to lock it away. And he will keep one thing to wear, and that will be a large shawl. Yes, folks. And he did that, and so he couldn't go out. He had to stay in. And it was during fall, it was during winter, so he forced himself to sit down and write. He published his book early, 2 weeks early. And the name of that book was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So what this tells us really, the effect really is, that's the story behind the effect. But what it is when we're in a state where we act against our better judgment. We know we want to do something. We know we have a goal. We know it is good for us. We write down the goals. Sometimes we get things to do to make us do what we have to do. We buy a planner. We buy the equipment or whatever it is. It happens. I can tell it happens to me. Because I'm no stranger to not doing at times what I know I need to do. But somehow in our brain, they say that our brain is instant gratification. So when we set the goal, when it's like I say, write a book. Anybody needs to write a book here? Anybody has a goal to write a book? It really wasn't one of mine, but I'm being encouraged. So whether it is to write a book, whatever it may be, maybe our goals, whatever plans we make for ourselves. Right, I'm glad to hear. Excellent. I just may write one. Actually, I'm doing a workbook first, a sort of planner workbook, because I'm so excited with our what we have accomplished in our mastermind. I'm really excited about it and the feedback. So sometimes we make goals for ourselves, but because those plans are for our future self, we envision what we want to do in the future, or sometimes our brain doesn't see the value of taking action for long-term benefits. So when time comes to make the decision, we made the decision, but because it's for the future self, we can't convince ourselves sometimes to do the work in the present, our present self. So research has discovered that our present self loves instant gratification. That's why some of us will take shortcuts sometimes to lose weight when we know the best, safest way is really about doing the work. It's very hard. Numerous times this whole week, I said I'm going to exercise. I know that the waistline is, listen, being in the house since March and eating and not exercising for me, here and there exercising, the waistline is expanding. I know I'm slim. Don't judge. The waistline, trust me, the clothes tell me the waistline is expanding. So I know what I have to do, but I put it off. Last night was the first night I hopped on the cycling machine for the whole week. Francis, you remember that? We were speaking and I was cycling as you were speaking. So we know what we have to do, but we always put it off. So you might hear me tonight, this evening, and you might leave here feeling good after, you chat with people in your network, and you might feel a little good. You might feel inspired. You might feel motivated and figure, yes, I can get this. I'm going to get my ebook. I'm going to make it, let's get going. Then guess what? You go to sleep. You go to bed. You sleep. You have sweet dreams. You relax. You snore. Roll off the covers. And then you get up in the morning and, the excitement is gone. You set into your routine. You get busy. I'm telling you, you're hearing it from the poster girl. So that's what happens. So what we need is a framework, a structure to keep us, to do our foundation work first and to keep us on the bandwagon. So I'm just going to roll. So, now is really your time to shine. So take advantage of the opportunities you have. You're going to get the ebook. It will be a good start for you. And as the question is how we wrap this and pull this on together. So we're saying that, gain clarity by defining your values. Again, the ebook has an exercise for you to clarify. Do your life audit. You have the wheel of life that will assist you. Craft your vision in a real serious way. Yes, so those are three things. Gain clarity with your values. In there also is your deeper why, but that's not in your exercise book, but definitely your values. So gain clarity, do your life audits, and craft your vision. And understand that you hold all within you, you have it within you to start the process and probably continue the process to achieve the goals that you have for yourself. And if you figure that you start and you need support in going through the process beyond that ebook, I said that I had a mastermind that we do the self-leadership program with, and the next cohort is happening in January. And if you want to hear more, I could always send you the information, or better yet, you could check me on charlenepedro.com. So the Mastery of Me looks at everything that we shared here tonight and so much more, but especially the fifth why, going deeper into your fifth why. As I said, the why that makes you cry. And really the purpose of the Mastery of Me is to give you a framework, a step-by-step framework to achieve your goals and set your soul, I love to call it, set your soul on fire. And, as I was preparing this, I said, look, let me just get some feedback from persons who would have been in the program, I shouldn't have been, it's still running. We celebrate next month. We'll see how we can celebrate in this Christmas season of physical distancing, but definitely we're going to celebrate because we end in December. But I just wanted to share with you, give you a sneak peek of what sometimes some of us need to help us along to achieve our goals. So some of us could go solo, but some of us definitely need support. And a tribe is I have learned just from this that a tribe is a very powerful thing. So what I should do, I am going to now, let me see, I'll do that after. But I wanted to share with you, as I said, just your feedback for us to understand that sometimes we do need the tribe. You know, the tribe is powerful. And we cap off here. I kind of missed that last slide. So we cap off here really understanding that every day we have an opportunity to do something different from yesterday. Tomorrow, every one of us on this call, every one of us, everybody actually have an opportunity to take one step, to take those 3 steps to make a difference. So it's all what we decide to do with our information. You know, we hop on calls, we hop on webinar, and we get the information. And the question is, do we continue? Do we take the next step? Do we use the information to help us grow, to help us get closer to where we want to go, to help us get closer to our dreams, to help us get closer to our goals? So I'm encouraging you, because we all have it, you have it within you, to bring your goals and your dreams to fruition. Like I said, not everything requires that you go and do something grand. And even if your goal is grand, you can break it down and definitely take some baby steps, as Dale said sometime. So the thing is, doing something today, doing something tomorrow, that you can move closer to your goals. So just let me know in the chat if this was useful for you. Do you think that the information shared was useful for you? Is it going to be helpful? Just let me know. Was it helpful? Was it useful? And I need to take a sip. Yes, I'm saying yes, it was. Yes, very useful. Yeah. Reinforced prior knowledge. Yes, Roger. Roger has been on my when we had our freebie earlier clock in March or April, I think it was April. Yeah. Right. So our 3 secrets. So I think this is somebody help me for the secrets. Yeah. I think Michelle said we're going to put the 3 sets. So you're going to get this in an ebook. So fear not, if you didn't write down everything, you're going to get, well, not the presentation, but what you will get is some instructions, some summary, and the 3 secrets. You're going to get it in an ebook, which is the same as a workbook, so that you can actually get going. I'm telling you, folks, these 3 steps are powerful. As you can tell from the testimonials, they are part of my mastermind, and they have all grown and make progress to where they are going. So that is just evidence. It's not just me saying, and I myself was really touched and moved that to see the progress that we could really celebrate come December, which is next month. So we'll be celebrating. What I'm going to do, so I'm going to stop sharing here. Yeah. Right. So that is our part in terms of giving you the information that we promised. So we promised, so we had to deliver. I am going to drop here. I can. All right. I'm glad, Margaret, that it was helpful. Margaret, girl, even if you join late, that's all right. So folks, connect. I just dropped my link for my website. You can sign up there. If I have, not if, I will be doing another freebie training. I mean, this is more than a webinar, folks. Don't you agree? Don't you agree this is more than a webinar? I mean, yeah. So go to charlenepetro.com when we're finished. Don't go now because we still have to wrap up quickly with a little networking. But when you're finished, go directly to charlenepetro.com. You'll see a little, I don't know, a oblong that will come up and say free training. Just put your name in there. All right, you'll get your ebook. When I'm having my next training, which will look at mindset, you will definitely be informed. Yeah, I am also on LinkedIn pretty often, so please do connect with me. I wouldn't go to the link now. Don't want to take time. Against time. Didn't think we would have been that long, but Francis, here we are.
all that you have done to bring us together. You have hit some powerful themes, life-changing themes. It took me back to two things. One, when I did a program like this when I was about 25. It was a 3-day version of what you just did.
Okay.
And in that 3-day program, I laid out a map for my life. And about a decade later, I went back to the program to see that I had actually accomplished much of it. And to this day, the reason I'm here in Jamaica is because I set those goals back then. And I was doing things, like you said, nobody else was doing them. Nobody else was talking about them. Yeah. I was the only one who had these crazy ideas at the time. And boy, that activity that really set me on my path allowed me to even be here today to talk about it. So that was the first thing. The second thing that I got from what you said was the power of masterminding. So I was a part of a mastermind about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it was my first time, but I hadn't done it for a while. And this was me, Jamaican, and 9 people from the state, 10 people from the States. And having the group support you in accomplishing your goals on a weekly basis, it works like magic. And I can only think that we need to be doing some kind of masterminding here at KRBHR Forum. It's not a skill that most people are aware of, and the structure, it needs some structuring and it needs some coordination. But that's why we have a community, and that's why we have a platform, so that we can bring together people in masterminds, give them the minimal. They don't need much instruction; they just need a little bit of support, and then have them go off. And the one I was in went for 10 weeks, and it was so really thanks for bringing that up again. I think it's going to be something we'll pursue.
Yeah.
And that's just 2 of the ideas that you shared tonight. That was a big idea.
And Francis, my mastermind, I created my mastermind different from the typical mastermind. So my mastermind has a teaching element. So we meet twice a month, and the first month is a teaching element. So I'll homework after. So, and you get to craft your goals, and you have exercises to do, self-awareness exercises. And then the first part is teaching, the second, check-in. So what did you do? Yes. So I created a different model.
Just about the support of it.
Because teaching is what I do. So teaching is what I do. Training is what I do. So I have one day is training, and the second day is
we'll be talking to you. And if you're not a member of KRBHR Forum, I'm going to invite you. Dale put the URL just before I put the graphic. If you're not yet a member, you don't have at least a trial membership, make sure to grab one. They're going hot. But the truth is, they're free. All our memberships are
definitely.
But I invite you to join. And also, if you wanted to go to the conference and weren't able to make it, or you only made it to a few sessions, I don't think anyone made it to every part of the conference, because there were 75 hours, Charlene, as you know, of content that was developed. But we do have a post-conference experience program for those of you who are interested in reliving the virtual conference experience. We provide you all of the recordings, the pre-recordings, the conference recordings, all of the materials. We put you in a group. I think I'm going to change it to a mastermind group, because we haven't quite started that group yet. Now that you mentioned it, I think that's a great idea, have a mastermind group. What we're trying to do is recreate the experience. And there is a cost to it. It costs $49 US for 75 hours of different content from the. So if you want to check it out, go to virtualconf.krbhrforum.com. That's or just talk to Dale or I or anybody in KRBHR Forum. They'll be able to direct you if you're not a member.
Yeah. And let me just say, Francis, for those who were not there, the presentations were amazing. And they were, for me, even as a consultant, I learned so much. I took notes when some were presenting, and I am actually implementing a recommendation that I heard in a presentation. So if you did not attend, please, trust me, please take the opportunity to get the recordings. It will help you grow. It will help you develop, and
Great.
you will actually get something.
I also am listening to them, to some of them, re-listening to some of them way after the fact. They were we really had some great people, and
really,
thankfully
really
most of it is absolutely Caribbean based. It's not no foreign business. I think 90%, 95% of our speakers were here from the Caribbean, which amazed everybody because they never heard of people. But you have talent. Well, right here. Yeah. Just that we're not aware. Okay, guys, so we're going to go into networking mode for the last 15 minutes. Charlene, your original challenge was to meet at least one person. Was that the challenge?
Yes, and our emoji challenge was there at the beginning, so they probably we can still let them look at the second emoji challenge and
have some fun at the same time. All right, I'm putting it up. It's coming up.
So we can look at the emoji challenge. Yeah.
Meet two people.
So here they'll say meet two. So you're gonna meet two. They'll say meet two persons. Yes. So make sure you get two contacts.
Different islands,
for
not your island either, and not someone that you already know, right?
Yeah. And then you're going to do the second part of the emoji question with the locations. And
right. But Charlene,
Francis,
did you mention
in the conference room,
coming up in December?
But boy, good thing you're here. You see how I don't mind the business? You see how I don't mind my business? So, folks, Francis had spoken when he was introducing me, Conversations Over Coffee, now branded with Charlene Pedro. So this is a breakfast session. Of course, now we're doing virtually, but it's a breakfast training session with a difference. We are glad to have the CEO of Rams Logistics, who recently won the Chambers, the Trinidad Chambers Prize for internationally known, locally grown business. So we're going to have that CEO there presented and others. So you will hear more about it. Hey, Francis, I see you putting something down there. So we are looking at the relationship between HR, for us HR practitioners, and the CEO. I have seen so many pulling and tugging at times on different, saying from different hymn sheets. So look out for it. We will have our registration out pretty soon, and this is something you will not want to miss. Trust me. Yeah.
Okay, and finally, I forgot to mention that we did do the drawing for the winner of the free post-conference experience program. The winner is Tamika King. Tamika. Congratulations, Tamika. If you're not here, I will contact you via email. She is here. There she is. She says, "Oh, really?"
Fantastic. She's here. Yep. Congratulations, Tamika. Wow. Wait, that calls for
random draw. All right, great. So we're going to go into networking mode. We have about 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes left to go. Meet two people, do the exercise, and guys, thanks for coming. Thank you again, Charlene, for bringing all that energy and all those ideas. These are life-changing ideas that will make a difference to anyone who takes them seriously. Trust me. All right, guys.